the next project. I'm going to install this DVR camera on Harley Touring, and I selected this particular model for a few reasons. First of all, the price is very reasonable at 110 bucks. Amazon, of course, once again, as everyone knows, I should probably live in an Amazon warehouse. It's terrible. I mean, the trucks, I'm going to have to start putting cookies out for the drivers because I know them all. But there are several things on this I like. It doesn't have a head unit. It has a control module, but it doesn't have a head unit with a camera attached to it, because where are you going to mount one of those big things on your motorcycle? Like you do on the car. On the car, it's fine. You hide it behind the rearview mirror. On the motorcycle, it's a different situation. So this unit doesn't have to be accessible. It gets hidden. Second, the cameras, both front and rear, the cameras are remote, so they're small. So that's a great thing right there. And I'm looking forward to being able to place them without them being obtrusive, which is a very important thing for me. I like the bike to look good. And again, can be remote. But the key to all of this is I've studied what it requires circuitry-wise, and I believe I can put everything behind the headlight and then easily mount the forward camera, and it will be hidden. And the rear camera, I have a couple of ideas. We're going to have to look at that. It has good features. 180p is fine. It's not, I mean, it's not 4K, but it's fine. It'll give you clear video. It's waterproof. I don't really care, but still, that's all right. It's small. It has loop recording, which is really, you have to have loop recording, but I like that you can set the segment time from 1 to 5 minutes. And, you know, you can put a big SD card in there, but who cares? But the real cool thing is that it connects by Wi-Fi to your phone, to an app on your phone. So you can be within like 200 feet of the bike, and you can look at your files. So that's the nice thing. And the good thing about putting it inside the headlight enclosure is I'll have the circuitry that I need, because I'm going to need 12 volts that comes on with the bike, and I have that with the lights. It should be ideal, and there is room, and it's easy. I won't have to take off the gas tank. I won't have to do anything crazy like that. So I'm looking forward to it, and let's see, they will have, because they always do a comparison. Yeah. So you get a unit like this or a unit like that. There's no place to mount that on a bike where it won't look like hell. You know, you just don't want one of those things. Again, it's fine in your car, but geez, you don't want that on your motorcycle. No good. So let's get this thing and we'll unpack it, see how it looks, and then we'll get busy. Now, I'm not going to do what's in the box, you know those things? I'm not going to do them because I don't like them. I think they're stupid, they're boring, they're tedious. You already know what's in the box. And, you know, I just don't care for those things. So what I'm going to do now is a what's in the box. Sorry, had to do that to you. But just a short one. I'm not going to go through all the, you know, they talk about all these details. My God. Anyway, I'm just curious about the size of a couple items. So quick look and see if this will support my, so far good. This will support my idea of putting it in the headlight area. This is the control module, and that will certainly fit in there. Yeah, that's good. Have to put a memory card in there. So that's good. And the other thing I want to see are the cameras. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a good size. That's a good size. Happy about that. Two of them, front and rear, and various mounting hardware. And this is the splitter for the cameras. Okay, good. Ready for the next step. Now, what I've done here, I've wasted so much of my life installing things only to find out that something is defective. So now I bench test everything before I get into installation. So I've hooked this up to a 12 volt power supply You can hook up your car battery, your motorcycle battery, whatever you want. But, you know, now at least I haven't torn the bike apart before I verified everything. And I have verified everything. There has been a problem, and I'll tell you about that. But I'm very impressed because the connectors, I'm going to turn off the power. The connectors are all color-coded. So the hit the emergency record button, blue to blue, and they snap together really well. Although when I do the final installation, I'll put some shrink tape on these things. The cameras, everything color-coded, very nice. This is the power controller. It's clearly marked. There are 3 wires coming out of here, red, black, and yellow for power and accessory. For these purposes of testing, I just connected the accessory and the positive together. Works fine. Then I turn it on and I get the power indicator. That's working. And then these guys light up. That's working. Can't show you on my phone, but I downloaded the app, and they make it very simple. By the way, memory card is not included. I didn't find that in the ad anywhere, but memory card not included, so you need a micro SD. In the instructions, they give you Android and Apple, so you can load up whatever you need. They also give you a way to contact them in the event you have a problem. That's nice. So I connected to my phone. I downloaded the app, piece of cake, open it up, connected to my phone. They tell you right here the default Wi-Fi name, the default password, connected just fine. But then it didn't go into video mode, and I had to do some troubleshooting. And I don't know why they designed it this way, but it will not communicate properly and show you an image when you have mobile data roaming turned on, which I always do. I mean, we all do. That's how we make phone calls and you know, use our phones. Turn that off, and it worked fine. So I was able to verify both cameras work, and they're quite clear. It's a good, sharp image. So I'm going to go ahead with the installation. And the only time it's going to be an issue is if something happened and I want to download the video file. I'm going to have to disconnect, just toggle off my mobile data, download the file, then I'll be good to go. And even for that matter, I wouldn't have to mess with it if this were accessible, like if this were under the seat of the motorcycle. I could just pull the memory card out and I'd have it that way. But since I'm going to bury this, it's a little bit warm, and they tell you that this runs a little bit warm, but there should be enough room and cooling inside the headlight. So it's not a big deal. It's just a stupid design. Who knows why they did that? But the project is a go. Power is off. We can get busy. All right, while you were sleeping, I was being diligent and finding what I need inside the headlight cavity. And I did. So we have to find a negative, always positive, hot, full time, and an auxiliary, or accessory that comes on only when the bike is switched on. And that's when it switches on the recording. So that's pretty straightforward, and I knew in this mess of wires that Harley provides up here. So here we have these 2 big honkers. These are both full-time hot, positive and negative, and I tested it, and there's my, come on, am I on the wrong range? No, I knocked my cable off down here. Stay. Good wire. There we go. So, meter was acting up right there. 12.73 volts, which is pretty good, healthy battery. And that battery's only a year old anyway. So, that's a piece of cake. Accessory is even easier because what comes on with your ignition and stays on, your low beam. Your low beam is clearly marked. Your high beam is clearly marked. You don't want your high beam because, of course, that only comes on when you switch it. Your low beam is clearly marked, and you have a negative and you have a positive. It's pretty straightforward, but I will meter them out to make sure. And I can even, depending on the type of connector, I can't sneak in there for a check right now while the bike is off. But I know that, obviously, because the light's not on, that's going to be the case. So we're in good shape. I don't use quick connectors, the kind that you slide onto the side of the wire and you crimp it down with ply. I don't use those things. Don't trust them over the years. I better put this back together. I was doing this for pursuing a good connection. There we go. And now I know where I want to go. So I will clean up these wires and I will solder and tape these three guys where they belong. And I don't know if I'm going to shorten them. I probably won't. I'll just bundle them up and tie wrap them, and we'll be good to go. So let me get this going and then we'll resume. You can get back to your nap now. All right, my positive and negative are all nice and soldered. Always remember, solder does not take the place of a good mechanical connection. Solder is there to maintain that good mechanical connection. So my wires are very solidly attached. I haven't done the accessory yet because I haven't metered it out yet. And I will now get these taped up and move on to the next step. All right, no surprises. The low beam, I disconnected the coupler so I could meter it. And there's a blue wire with a tracer, yellow tracer, and a black wire. And of course, you would expect the black to be negative. But check them both. No response on the black. And we have 12.2 on the blue. That's going to be the accessory lead. But let's do one more test, and that is switch to high beams and make sure it remains hot. Because you just don't want to have to do these things twice. So now we got the high beam on. Is it still feeding the low beam? And the answer is yes, and of course it should, because both the high and low run when you're running your high beams. Cool beans. Now we know what we're going to connect to. All right, my accessory wire is soldered and taped to the low beam blue wire, and my connector is put back together. I'm going to tape that up just because that's the kind of guy I am. I don't trust in anything. There's so much room in here. So I put I tie wrapped the power module up to a bundle of wires, and I'll make it a little more secure, but it's out of the way. But keep in mind that your headlight has some depth behind the lens, like it comes in about, inch and a half, 2 inches. So you can't just have stuff sitting around right here. It's got to be back inside, or better yet, off to the side. And considering that the camera module itself is double the size of the power module, it's going to end up getting put over on the side and out of the way. So what I have to think about next, that's going to be a piece of cake, not worried about that. What I need to think about next are my camera wires. And I'm considering putting the front camera, I thought about putting it right under here. Nobody would ever notice it. It's a good location. Another one would be under here. And in both cases, piece of cake, drill a little hole, secure the camera, and get the wire up in there. Also very, very easy. So now I'm going to fiddle around with it. I'm going to first do what you know I'm going to do, because this is a Commander Toasty production. Got to have my decaf at all times. Check back in a minute. Now here's where we are. I decided to mount the forward camera directly beneath the headlight. And once the headlight is on there, nobody's ever going to see this thing. If I put it down here, it would be too visible. So I decided against that. Plus it's extremely easy. Wire comes up from behind. Piece of cake. A note on the wire. Both cameras come with this really long and I told you before, these are color coded, but you don't have to have this big cable. They really did some nice design work on this. Toss it away, and it's labeled front. I mean, they covered their bases. These things are indexed, so they go together just like, they go together real tight. I'll still put some tape around there, but that's it. I'll put some black paint on my fasteners. The kit comes with self-tapping screws. There's no way I'm going to use self-tapping screws on a motorcycle. Nut and bolt with split washers. That's the way to go for me. You do what you do. But this could be the end of the installation. If I only wanted a front camera, this could be the end of the installation. I'm not going to put in the little switch that allows you to take a snapshot. I can't imagine ever using that, because you can always still frame the video, you know, if you have some issue. You know, you want to see a license plate or whatever, you can still frame the video. So I'm not going to use that switch. And if I didn't want to use a rear camera, and I'm going to, this could be the end of it. You know, I can just button it up and I'm good to go. Secure the control module, which you can see connected directly into the power module. Secure it back here. All kinds of room in here, plenty of room. Not worried about heat dissipation or anything. But now it's time to move on to the rear camera, and obviously I'm going to have to snake a wire back there, but I also have another thought. What if I don't put the rear camera on the very back of the bike? What if I put it up by one of my mirrors? So I'm going to take a look and see if I have a good hidey spot up there, because it's still going to be able to see behind me, right? As long as it can get past my shoulders or whatever. I'm going to take a look. Maybe that's the way to go. All right, so I'll show you later, but I was able to snake the rear camera cable back under the gas tank. So, I mean, in like 2 minutes, piece of cake. So all the way to the back of the bike. So that's done. It's here. It's connected to the control module. Everything in here is getting ready to be buttoned up now. This is the blue that I'm not using for the switch that I'm not using. Plenty of room. Everything looks good. I'm very happy. You might be concerned, well, did I mount the camera upside down, right side? It doesn't matter. You can rotate the camera in its mount, so you can make it right. You know, everything's looking fine. I'm going to do a test run, which you won't be able to watch because I have to use the phone. I'm going to do a test run, and then I'm going to put my headlight back in there, and everything's going to be great. Got to go get some black paint and a Q-tip and touch up those fasteners, because I don't want that to be ugly like that. Well, a couple of issues, but it worked fine. The connection issues, but look what I did in the back. I didn't want it to be obtrusive. Look what I figured out. Dum dum dum. The mounting screw for the seat. It's perfect. Nobody's ever going to even notice it sitting there. And I only ride solo, but even if somebody were on the back, it would be fine. And then up front, I'm all buttoned up now. I'm going to have to adjust some camera angles, but I mean, look at that. It doesn't stand out at all. There's no issue about that. So here's the thing. It starts recording automatically. You don't have to worry about any of that. But if you want to access it with your phone, you have to turn off your SIM card. You have to turn off your cellular service, whatever kind of phone you have. Turn off your cellular service, then use your Wi-Fi settings to connect to this device. Then you're good to go. But if your cell service is turned on, it's not going to work. So now I'm going to see if I can pull a recording on it.